श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र से जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की जमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेशनल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की ताई गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hari bol, Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे. हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, chapter entitled The Passing Away of Bhishma Deva. Text 9. Tan Sametan Mahabhagan Upalabhya Vasutamaha Pujayam Asa Dharmagyo Desha Kala Vibhagavit Tan Sametan Mahabhagan उपलभ्य पूजयाम आस धर्मज्ञो देश काल विभागवित् तान् समेतान् महाभागान् उपलभ्य वसोत्तम पूजयाम आस धर्मज्ञो देश काल विभागवित् तान् समेतान् महाभागान् उपलभ्य वसोत्तमः पूजयामास धर्मज्ञो देश काल विभागवित्. Ladies, Tan, all of them. Sametan, assembled together. Mahabhagan, all greatly powerful. Upalabhya, having received. Vasuttama, the best amongst the Vasus. Bhishmadev, Pujayam Asa, welcomed. Dharmagya, one who knows religious principles. Desha, place. Kala, time. Vibhagavit, one who knows the adjustment of place and time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Bhishma Dev, who was the best amongst the 8 Vasus, received and welcomed all the great and powerful rishis who were assembled there, for he knew perfectly all the religious principles according to time and place. Purport. Expert religionists know perfectly well how to adjust religious principles in terms of time and place. All the great acharyas or religious preachers or reformers of the world executed their mission by adjustment of religious principles in terms of time and place. There are different climates and situations in different parts of the world. And if one has to discharge his duties to preach the message of the Lord, he must be expert in adjusting things in terms of the time and place. Bhishmadev was one of the 12 great authorities in preaching this cult of devotional service, and therefore he could receive and welcome all the powerful sages assembled there at his deathbed from all parts of the universe. He was certainly unable at that time to welcome and receive them physically because he was neither at his home nor in a normal healthy condition. But he was quite fit by the activities of his sound mind, and therefore he could utter sweet words with hearty expressions, and all of them were well received. One can perform one's duty by physical work, by mind, and by words. And he knew well how to utilize them in the proper place, and therefore there was no difficulty for him to receive them, although physically unfit. Jai Shila Prabhupada ki. Mantrin anena devasya kuryat dravyamayim budham saparyam vividher dravyer desha kala vibhagavit. So we welcome all of you, students of the GBC College and also doctors from the Bhaktivedanta Hospital. One of the most important principles in leadership is the ability to adjust and execute things as per time, place, and circumstance. The example is here of Bhishma Dev, who's on the bed of arrows. He's unable to get up, he's unable to welcome. Typically, in the Vedic system, one would need all the Shodash Upachara. to offer as part of one's welcome. Bhishma Dev is on the bed of arrows, he cannot even move the tip of a finger. So, how is it possible for him to offer that welcome? And in the Vedic culture, not offering the proper welcome is also considered to be sinful. So, in this scenario, Bhishma Dev is in a state of what is known as Dharm Sankat, which is damn if you do, damn if you don't, and you just do not know what to do. You are at the crossroads of decision making. And therefore, drivers are expected to drive vehicles, cook is expected to cook food. We have housekeeping staff expected to do the housekeeping. Doctors are expected to cure the health of patients. Academics are supposed to do research and publish papers. So, what is a leader expected to do? What is a leader trained to do? A leader is trained to make decisions in situations of complexity. The very definition of leadership is all about how the leader can make decisions. And sometimes the situations in which the decisions need to be made can be extremely complex. So, therefore, Bhishma Dev decided that I will welcome all of these personalities not with any of the Shodash Upachar, but with my words. And therefore, only one limb of my entire body is functioning, which is the tongue. So let me use that to offer. So that is known as adjusting as per time, place, and circumstance. Pujayan asa dharmagyo. So the word used here is dharmagya, one who understands the essence of religious principles as per time, place, and circumstance. So similar situation comes for Dhruva Maharaj, where he's in a very angry mode. He's gone to the forest. Narad Muni meets him, and Narad Muni tells him that you are in a very angry state of mind. Gunadikam mudam lipsit. People who want to be happy in life do three things. They feel the pleasure when they meet people with more advanced qualities. Guna adhikam mudam. Become happy when you see someone's progress. Anukrosham gunadhamat. When you see someone with lesser qualities, then you show compassion towards them. Maitrim samanat anvichin. And when you see someone with equal qualities, then you develop friendship with them. Na tapair abhibhuyate. Then you will not be subjected to the heat of this material world. So when Narad Muni speaks this to Dhruva, so Dhruva tells him that your recommendations are very good for someone who's a self-controlled Brahman. But you're talking to an agitated Kshatriya, and therefore it will not work. And so he says, Padam Tribhuvanotkrishtam Jigishu Sadhu Vartmame. I simply want a kingdom greater than that of my great grandfather. Padam Tribhuvana Utkrishtam, that which is greater than the three worlds. Jigishu, I desire that. But sadhu vartmame, not by any cheating method, but by a bona fide process. So at that time, Narad Muni gives him the mantra to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and also tells him the process of deity worship And typically, the process of deity worship is very, very complex with rituals which need to be very exact, and a little bit of discrepancy can create havoc. But Narad Muni, considering the fact that Dhruva is in the forest and all the ingredients are not available, he gave him a very simplified version. And so Dhruva Maharaj, he used the mud of Yamuna and created a deity form of Krishna and was offering those deities water from the Yamuna and tulasi and fruits, whatever was available. So that's what this verse says. Mantrenanena devasya kuryad dravyamayim buddha. Whatever dravya was possible to get in those circumstances. Saparyam vividhair dravyair. So all different kinds of ingredients for saparyam worship was collected by Dhruva with whatever was available, because he understood that the principle for my fulfillment of desires is submission to the instruction and the order of Narad Muni. And that is the main principle. The varieties of the ingredients is a detail. I will make spiritual advancement and be able to fulfill my spiritual desires based on how strictly I follow the instruction. And the instruction is to chant this mantra with attention and to worship. The details of worship may vary. And that was the saving grace for Dhruva, because he found Shripad Narad Muni and he simply followed his instruction to the core. And therefore, in the beautiful pastime of Sakshi Gopal, when that young Brahmana sees that the old Brahmana is not keeping his word, ei vakye achhe mora sakshi mahajan, yara vakya satyakori mane tribhuvan. He says, the old Brahmana is asking, and the old Brahmana's son is asking, to whom they are, to the sister of whom the marriage and wedding was promised, and they went back on their word. So he's asking, was anyone there who saw this? What is the witness? So at that time, the young Brahmana makes a very important statement. And he says, Ei vakye achemara sakshi mahajan. The witness to my statement was the deities. Krishna has been the witness of my words. Yara vakya satyakori mane tribhuvan. And what is the speciality of Krishna being the witness? He says, the whole world accepts Krishna's words as true. And so Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that the young Brahmana had conviction in Krishna's words, confidence in Krishna's dealings, total comfort with the Shastras which have been given by Krishna. And therefore, the only asset which that young Brahmana had was that confidence and conviction in the words coming from Krishna. That was the only asset he had. And so Srila Prabhupada also mentions, when I went to America, I did not have money, which that old Brahmana had. I did not have, all the other assets like high birth or this or that and other things. So the young Brahmana neither had high birth because he was from a particular subsect which was not as high as the older Brahmana. He did not have wealth. He did not have influence. He did not have social status. In such a scenario, when one has no assets, can service to Krishna be still possible? Because many times when we are in decision making position, the biggest challenge comes when we are faced with a situation that the vision is great, assets are limited. How many of you have experience of that? The hand went up too quickly. There was too much of emotion. So the vision is unlimited. The vision is pure. The vision is amazing. But many times we are handicapped and we feel discouraged. So Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport that the only asset I had when I went to the West was my faith in the words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The asset was not just the words. Words are always there. But Srila Prabhupada's faith in those words. And because of that faith in the words, he could actually go to the West. And it is described that just before embarking on that journey, Srila Prabhupada goes to Shantipur, the birthplace of Srila Advaita Acharya. And in Shantipur, Srila Prabhupada meets one of his own god brothers. Srila Prabhupada has already taken sannyas, and his god brothers call him Swami Maharaj at that time. And so his god brother looks at Srila Prabhupada and is, quite astounded by seeing his conviction to go to America. And he says, Swami Maharaj, I heard you are going to America. And Srila Prabhupada immediately says, Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America. I am traveling with the Srimad Bhagavatam as their servant on the order of Srila Saraswati Thakur. So that was his conviction. His conviction was very clear. I am just carrying the message of the Bhagavat. So one more disciple of Srila Prabhupada was sharing this story that as the Jaladuta came into Boston, as the Jaladuta was entering into the Boston harbor, there was one more ship which was coming out and going towards another destination. And when the ships cross each other, the captains come on the deck and they give each other signal as a part of protocol that everything is okay. Srila Prabhupada was so eager to preach in America that he was already standing at the deck. And coincidentally, he was standing at that spot where the captain usually stands. And the captain was little delayed in coming there. So Prabhupada was standing there. And so the captain from the other ship, when he showed the hand, Srila Prabhupada was showing the hand. And that captain was thinking, who's this person? Very differently dressed captain. Totally different color. And Prabhupada at that time had that, hat, his signature hat. And Srila Prabhupada's face was glowing, golden complexion, so that captain could not forget Prabhupada's face. And he was wondering who this was. And then Prabhupada came to Boston, then he went to Butler, and then finally he came to New York, and his preaching began. that other captain who had seen Prabhupada, after a couple of years when he was in New York, he found one pamphlet of lectures by Swami Prabhupada at 26 Second Avenue. And he recognized that face. And he said, oh, this is that person who did this. So he came to meet Srila Prabhupada. And then he started associating with the devotees. And he became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So this devotee was saying that Prabhupada's preaching, we may think, began after reaching Boston. It actually reached before, on the way. So Srila Prabhupada demonstrated 5 important qualities which are extremely important for a leader to be flexible in decision making. So when you speak about decision making and leadership, what is considered high quality of decision makers? Just like milk has various qualities, from pure, you know, uh, milk coming from desi guy, which is going and grazing in organic grass and taken out lovingly with the hand while chanting Hare Krishna. From that grade to pure urea mixed. So there can be a whole grade of milk. Like that, gold can have various grades. Like that, decision making capacities also can have different grades. So the highest grade in decision making is those decision makers who are extremely clear in their decision making. At the same time, they have flexibility. They have clarity, they have conviction, they have communication, but at the same time, they do their decision making with conscience. So their conscience drives them, and depending on how they see the things change, they are able to have the clarity, the conviction, and the communication to actually make the change in the decision on the spot. And so there are 5 values which Srila Prabhupada demonstrated, because of which he could establish the Krishna consciousness movement globally in such a short period of time. At the age of 70, he began the movement in America without any help and did not even consider. Nowadays, we are traveling to different parts of the world. If one reply doesn't come that I am coming for pickup, then we start wondering, hey, what is the address? Who's going to come to pick up? Did they get the message? This, that. And he's just having 2 heart attacks, right? It was not that he had like a sore throat. During the journey, he got some sore throat and started coughing. 2 heart attacks, and after getting down at Boston, he's not going to Harvard Medical to get his checkup and angiography. He's moving on. So when you hear that story, it may appear to be, we may not catch the significance of what's going on, but it requires tremendous amount of resilience to be able to do this. So the first quality Srila Prabhupada demonstrated was humility. That's the fundamental basis for any kind of spiritual leadership. If one does not have the humility, then one cannot be in a leadership position. And Srila Prabhupada had that humility that I may be insignificant. The idea of a global Krishna conscious movement as envisioned by Srila Saraswati Thakur may seem ridiculous, that a person with no assets at 70 is attempting a global movement But only those with genuine humility realize I have insignificant capacity, but I'm embarking on this journey not based on my power, but based on the power of those who are ordering me and directing me. And that's what Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, at further advanced age, 90 plus, he is requested to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Lila Ratnasar Swarupera Bhandar Te ho thuila Raghuna Tera Kanthe Taha kichu je shunilu Taha iha bistarilu Bhakta Gana dilu ei bhete. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying that at this advanced age I have been requested by the Vaishnavas to perform this seva of writing this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Normally, devotees would say, retire, we'll take care of your needs, just relax, you've done your seva. But the biggest monumental seva is being asked of him at 90. So he's saying, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes were like various precious stones, Ratnasar, and they were all kept with Swarupera Bhandar, with Swarup Damodar Goswami. Teho Thuila Raghunatera Kanthe. And then Raghunath Das Goswami, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ended his pastime, he became very, very discouraged and he wanted to commit suicide. So the devotees in Jagannath Puri told him that you want to commit suicide, that's fine, but for anything you need permission, no? He said, yeah, that is true. So he said, how can you commit suicide without Rupa and Sanatan's permission? That's a good point. So go to Vrindavan, take their permission and commit suicide. So Raghunath Das Goswami followed and came to Vrindavan and he meets Rupa and Sanatan. And he says, I have come here to go on top of Govardhan and jump and end my life. Rupa and Sanatan tell him that, okay, that's one way of dealing with separation. But the better way of dealing with separation is you describe the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya sitting on the banks of Radha Kund. And that's what he does. And so Kaviraj Goswami says, I am sitting there and hearing all of that. Taha kichu je shulilu, taha iha bistarilu. That's what I have described here. Bhaktagana dilu ei bhete. And that's what is my gift to the devotees. So Kaviraj Goswami is expressing that I have no qualification. Sheshalilar sutragan kori kichu bibaran iha bistarite chitta hoye. ठाके जदि आयुशेष बिस्तरिबा लीला शेष जदि महाप्रभुर कृपा होए. And Kaviraj Goswami says, many of you take something for granted which I cannot take for granted, which is time. I don't have the asset of time because I'm only 90 plus. When I sleep at night, whether I will wake up tomorrow, I don't know. So therefore, Sheshalilar Sutragan. This is the second chapter of Madhya Lila, but I am including entire Anta Lila in summary form in second chapter itself. From literary point of view, it may appear not to be symmetrical. It may appear odd. But what to do? I am not here for some literary accomplishment and accolades. I am here to serve. And what is my main, anxiety? Iha vistarite chitta hoye. I want to make sure that although I want to expand upon it, but devotees should not be bereft of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Antalila pastimes because I depart and they don't get to hear anything. So at least I'll give a summary. I'll give like an indication. So something is there. So therefore, Thake jadi ayushesh. After finishing Madhya Lila, if my lifespan still continues, Vistariba Lila Shesh, then I will expand further, Jadi Mahaprabhur Kripa Hoye. Because seva can only be done by the grace, the mercy, the blessings, the permission, the special benedictions of the Lord and his devotees. It cannot be done with one's acquired skills. The seva is always done by the will of the Lord and the Vaishnavas, not by the skill of the Vaishnava. The skill may be there, but that which drives is the will of the Lord and the devotees. So, therefore, this is a great example of time, place, and circumstance how Kaviraj Goswami adjusts in the course of writing Chaitanya Charitamrita because he realizes that I have limited assets now. So, therefore, service and seva, when receiving an order, needs to begin immediately. But the scope and the scale to which it can be expanded can be unleashed phase wise. Therefore, there is no question of forgetting or postponing that seva. One has to begin, and then gradually things will grow. As Krishna gives more assets, more facilities, one can expand the seva more. But nothing stops us from beginning the seva with whatever we have at our disposal. So that requires humility. Otherwise, sometimes one may think, Arey, I am so strong and powerful. How can I begin something so small? Whatever I do has to be grand. No, grand comes later. First, you have to go through the grind. When you go through the grind, then grand will manifest. Right? The only building we had in Govardhan Eco Village was not even there now. It has been demolished. But a 1,000 square feet kitchen building, that was the only thing which originally was there. And next to that was Goshala, where the current temple is, was a Goshala for 25, 30 cows. These were the only two buildings. And this land was searched and found out for ISKCON and Radhanath Swami by Madhvanand Prabhu. Yes, Madhvanand Prabhu, can raise your hand. Yeah. Okay. So therefore, the foundation for Govardhan Eco Village is Bhaktivedanta Hospital. So over a period of time, things will grow. So somebody was telling Radhanath Maharaj, because so much of struggle was going on, money, human resource was all being pumped into this project and nothing seemed to be coming out. So they said, Maharaj, this Govardhan Eco Village project is a black hole. Black hole. Whatever goes in only. Nothing comes out. मतलब आदमी गया तो उधर से गायब, पैसा गया तो फिर आगे कुछ दिखाई नहीं. Maharaj, this is a black hole. And Radhanath Maharaj, within 2 seconds, not that he had to think and wonder why is he saying like that. Within 2 seconds, he said, Krishna is black and he is the absolute whole. So now, after things are doing well, I asked that devotee, what happened? Black hole. Well, nahi, this is now very good, complete whole. Lot of zeros coming. So I'm happy. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, when he came to New York, he did not have all these wealthy, Indian multimillionaires sitting there waiting for him. There was nobody. And Prabhupada was in that Mishra's studio, yoga studio, and Ananda Ashram. So when he was with Dr. Mishra, he told Dr. Mishra, who was the yoga teacher at that time. For a long time, Prabhupada was trying some opening, nothing was coming up, and Prabhupada said, you have to take the lead in supporting our mission. Lord Chaitanya's mission will only spread through you. So Dr. Mishra said, Arey Baba, I'm a yoga teacher, Hatha Yoga Classic. How can I be part of Lord Chaitanya? What is the connection? And Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya's father name is Jagannath Mishra. Your name is Dr. Mishra. Mishra, Mishra. Take it up. And he got so bewildered, he didn't know what to say. So whatever opening Prabhupada was getting, he was trying. He did not say whether I'm getting, this kind of support or no support or whatever. So that was his humility. Young people were coming and joining him and co-opting to serve. They were not so qualified, but Prabhupada was engaging them. So one of the disciples Prabhupada engaged as editor, 22, 23-year-old American boy, and he was going through Prabhupada's manuscripts and he saw Shri Shri Radha Krishna. He cut one Shri, circled it and wrote repetition. As part of editing, he said, mistake, it's a repetition. Prabhupada saw that. He said, why did you cut this? He said, this is a repetition. You don't say what, who. So Shri Shri. Prabhupada said, when I write in my language, you don't correct. You edit when I write in your language. But Srila Prabhupada patiently taught. And can you imagine Pradyumna Prabhu, who had no previous background of Sanskrit, within 2 years, Srila Prabhupada trained him to be world-class Sanskrit scholar. And he was editing all the books and things like that. So this is the first principle, humility. Second quality Srila Prabhupada demonstrated was enthusiasm. Because enthusiasm is the foundational principle for any kind of major effort. So Srila Prabhupada's enthusiasm was beyond compare. And Prabhupada says enthusiasm means use of intelligence. Use of intelligence in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. And when Srila Prabhupada was in New York, at that time, Brahmanand Prabhu was again and again trying to get the Bhagavad Gita published, but he could not. And then they got just this one request from Macmillan that I want a tape. So Prabhupada immediately told Brahmanand Prabhu, you take, you go and give this tape physically in the Macmillan office. And then you will meet somebody and then you will tell them that we have this manuscripts written by an Indian Swami in English language. So Brahmanand Prabhu asked, should I take the manuscripts with me? Prabhupada said, no need. Just you go, give the tape and tell them it is written by Indian Swami, it is complete and they can publish it. So he went, he gave the tape, it was like a clerk. And he was thinking, it's a clerk. He has no power to take any decisions on publishing of religious manuscripts. Suddenly the door opened and this clerk introduced the person who entered. He said, this is James Wade. He is the editor in charge for religious section. Immediately Brahmananda got excited. He said, I got a Bhagavad Gita. And James Wade said, English language? Brahmananda said, then James Wade said, written by Indian Swami? He said, yes. James Wade said, is it complete? Brahmananda said, my God, Prabhupada predicted every question. He said, yes. So James Wade said, bring it, we will publish it. So Brahmananda said, but you don't want to see the manuscript? He said, no, we have manuscripts for all the religious traditions except Hinduism. I was looking for Bhagavad Gita manuscript in English language written by an Indian Swami, you have just bring it. And Brahmanand Prabhu felt that he wanted to fly from there back to Prabhupada. After 11 rejections, he felt at last this has happened, and as he was rushing towards the 26th Second Avenue, he was imagining what will be Prabhupada's reaction. He'll jump up, he'll embrace me, and then we'll dance together. We'll jump up and down and this and that. So many things he was thinking. And then when he came and rushed to Prabhupada, offered obeisance, and said, Srila Prabhupada, Macmillan has agreed to publish. Prabhupada was working, and without even one expression, he took the manuscript. He said, take it. And continued working. And he was shocked. He said, are so many rejections, finally a big breakthrough. Swami is not showing any expression. Then he realized that Srila Prabhupada already knows that Krishna has ordained things and it will only manifest. All we have to do is continue on with enthusiasm, not thinking that I am the doer. So Prabhupada mentions in Vritrasura, because an amazing thing happens. Vritrasura is enthusiastic, Indra becomes morose. So Vritrasura is preaching to him. Are Baba, Lord Vishnu has empowered this, Vajra. You understand? You are meant to be successful and you are depressed. Hit me, I will get killed. Only in Bhagavatam you will get this conversation. You are meant to be victorious. This is empowered by Lord Vishnu. Please hit. Come, do it. And then he says, Yuyutsatam kutratit atatainam. He says, there is only one person who is always victorious. That is Lord Vishnu. Everybody else goes through either victory or defeat. So Prabhupada says both joy in victory and moroseness in defeat are symptoms of pride. So why we become less enthusiastic? Because we think, I have failed. No, we are only instruments in both victory and failure, and we have to continue with enthusiasm. The third principle Prabhupada demonstrated was appreciated all. He appreciated all. One painter, Prabhupada asked her to make a painting of Radha and Krishna. So Krishna was standing this way and Radharani had her hands like this with garland towards Krishna. But while painting, this lady made the Radharani's hand on the other side. First time she was painting, so she made Radharani's on the other side. Prabhupada saw and said, Radharani has another boyfriend? And when she saw that, she realized she made a mistake. She became very morose and was about to cry. Prabhupada saw that. Prabhupada said, no. Actually, Radharani loved your painting so much, she has called you on the other side and giving you the garland. Then Pushkar Prabhu says, he made a painting, Krishna sitting on a rock. Now, first he made the rock and the scene. Then he thought, oh, it's too mundane. So he added Krishna. Prabhupada detected that. Prabhupada said, what is this? Why is Krishna sitting like this? Why is Krishna sitting like this? So he said, Prabhupada, Krishna is in separation from gopis. So he's feeling very morose like that. Prabhupada said, Krishna doesn't express moroseness like this. Like you and me do, oh, I missed the train. Oh, it's not like that. It's too mundane. Then he became very, upset. Then Prabhupada said, okay, we'll adjust this. We will call this Krishna has a headache. That pastime where the gopis were asking for Narad Muni's dust and everything. Narad Muni asked him for the dust and the gopis gave the dust because Krishna has a headache. The fourth principle Prabhupada demonstrated was he recognized excellence. He appreciated all, but he recognized excellence because when someone excels, that needs to be especially seen and demonstrated. Like Hamsadutta Prabhu he heard that Prabhupada wants a traveling Sankirtan bus. So he got from a hippie such an old dilapidated bus which had no paint, no windows, no front glass also, and only one seat for the driver. And he brought Prabhupada, that we got the world traveling Sankirtan bus. So Prabhupada said, where will I sit? So they went and got a seat from the temple. And Prabhupada said, this will shake. So Brahmanand Prabhu came and held it and said, now it will not shake. And then Hamsadut Prabhu sat and he switched on the ignition and smoke started coming out of the dashboard. Prabhupada said, looks like an Indian bus. And Hamsadut Prabhu that time thought it's a compliment. Few years later, when he came to India, he realized what was the purport of that comment. And then few years later, Srila Prabhupada told him, I'm making you BBT trustee. And he said, Arey, how is it? I'm not even qualified. Prabhupada said, because right from the day you have joined, you have always strived sincerely to fulfill my desire, taken responsibility to decrease my burden. So that is excellence. One who perceives the pain of the master as one's own pain and tries to relieve that pain. Tapyante lokatapena sadhavo prayasho jana param aradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilat. And the fifth principle is that Srila Prabhupada, in spite of all of this, gave creative freedom. He gave creative freedom, allowed people to make mistakes, and he realized that yes, they are young, but they are sincerely trying and striving. He gave them creative freedom. And Shamsundar Prabhu mentions that I had no experience of being in India in 1971, but Prabhupada said, he said, let's have a big pandal. And Prabhupada said, okay, you organize. So he was traveling in a car in Kalbadevi market. He hit one man. First time he was driving in India. So having, driving skills doesn't mean much. Many times when you're driving when the guy got hit, he fell on the ground and a crowd surrounded the whole car and looked inside. And Shamsundar Prabhu took the bead bag thinking, I'm going to be hit and they're going to make samadhi here for me. The mob has surrounded me. He started chanting. Then the crowd looked inside, looked at Shamsundar Prabhu, then caught hold of the guy who was hit and started beating him. So he got even more bewildered. And I made the mistake, why they are beating him? Then he thought maybe in India they begin from there. Then they'll come to me. Then the crowd moved back and said, you go. It was too much for him. He said, I made the mistake. Why did you beat him? And one guy said, you are dressed as Krishna's devotee. How dare he disturb a Krishna devotee like you? Then he realized, oh my God. Srila Prabhupada always would say the Vedic culture is still active in India. Just dressing up as a devotee, people have so much expectation to what to speak of. What is the actual responsibility? So Srila Prabhupada gave creative freedom because of which ISKCON could spread across the world in different places. And therefore, with the humility, with Srila Prabhupada's ability to actually have enthusiasm, to appreciate all, to recognize excellence, and to give creative freedom with these 5 qualities, Srila Prabhupada inspired more than 5,500 disciples to take formal initiation. And interestingly, hardly 20 to 30 were Indian. Apart from that 20 to 30, all of the 5,500 were from West. And Prabhupada spent more time in Mumbai between 71 to 77 than any other place. In spite of that, in 1977, when Prabhupada departed, ISKCON had 108 temples. The score was only 5 temples in India, 103 temples outside India. ISKCON was all Western. Vrindavan, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Kolkata and Mayapur. And then Bhuvaneshwar also, some project had begun. Only 5 temples were there. But nobody imagined that ISKCON will grow in India, because even Krishna Balram temple was known as Angrejon ka hi mandir. Even now it is, they call it like that. But thanks to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, Jayapatak Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, Bhanu Maharaj, Lokanath Maharaj, all the other Maharajas and leaders, they kept the spirit of the parampara going. And this shows that leadership is not static, it's not stuck in a time. But if the same principles are followed through, nobody would imagine that temples in India will grow and the devotees in India will grow, because hardly there were. And Radhanath Maharaj on on Mahaprabhu's disappearance, our Mahaprabhu Prabhu, he said practically the first congregation initiated devotee I can remember and think of is Srinathji Prabhu. Because the concept of devotee was you have to be full time in temple. Hardly there was any congregation. So therefore, that's the strength of ISKCON, that we are not person-centric. We take our power from Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya, and the Guru Varga continues spreading that potency. And as leaders of ISKCON, the next generation, we have to continue connecting people to Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya for ISKCON. And by connecting people to his divine grace, the Guru Parampara in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is all the list of the various self-effulgent Mahabhagavat Acharyas. And Srila Prabhupada is that Acharya for the next thousands of years. And we need to continue connecting people to Srila Prabhupada. And then the entire mission will continue to flourish across the whole world. And that's also the mission of the GBC College for Leadership Development, that as the leaders continue to take responsibility, we provide that hand-holding, support, guidance, the skills, and the association and the ecosystem by which they get inspired to take and shoulder more and more responsibility for His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. So these are a few thoughts based on this beautiful verse from the first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, from Bhishma Dev section. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, over to you, Rupa Anuga Prabhu.
Gauranga Prabhu, as always, brilliant, profound, thought-provoking, and inspiring class. I don't know what we'll do without you. GBC College came into existence because of you, and I hope it will continue with your inspiration and guidance. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Gaurang Prabhu?
Yeah.
Question is allowed or is it over?
Our GBC College has a session.
Okay.
From 10 o'clock. So these sessions are being moderated by the GBC College for the 10 days. Otherwise, Sunday class is in Hindi usually, but it's because of the GBC College we are doing in English also. But you can ask me when we meet in person. Hare Krishna.